Hey fellas, your commissioner here, coming at ya for a little week 12. Week 12 of NFL action. Um, Start off, I guess, talking about the mediocre basketball team. Almost blew the game last night to Winthrop. Shot 50% from three. Unbelievable that they stayed in the game. Just couldn't put them away. Thug player, tried to take Nick Pringle's head off. Probably should never be allowed to play basketball again. But a win is a win. I turned it off after we were down 5 with like a minute and a half left, thinking the game's over, and we came back. Maybe I shouldn't watch them play. I don't know. But I don't want to belabor that too much. Very, very, very packed State of the Union. A lot of content to get into. On really all ends. The recap's going to have some very interesting things. Obviously, today, trade deadline is upon us, right? Trade's been popping off, bang, 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 all over the place. One of the most active trade deadlines we've had in the last couple of years. And then, we've got some big games here coming down the stretch for teams that are jockeying for those final few playoff spots. As well as seeding. So, without further ado, let's go ahead here, get into a recap of last week's games. Start off with our double-decker oatmeal cream pie game of the week. And hey, this is on a heater down, guys. This one was just, you had to bake this one the game of the week, really. This was, it's really, I can't take too much credit for picking this one out of the rough. You had a 8-2, doesn't contribute, going up against a 9-1 Kicker Lives Matter, and boom, lived up to the hype. Came down to Sunday night, and 126 to 124. Craig pulls out the edge just so slightly with Jameson Williams' last catch on the evening. Catapulted him over the edge and to the victory. Obviously, Duncan had Josh Jacobs get dinged up, and otherwise, Duncan probably could have won this game. But, Craig stays hot now. He's won 7 in a row, continuing his streak into the record books. I don't think we've ever had a season where 2 different teams have gone on 6-game-plus winning streaks, and obviously Duncan did to start the year, getting off to his 8-0 start, I believe, right? 8-0, or did he go 9-0? I think he 8-0, right? Yes, 8-0. So Craig is pushing that. I mean, don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think Craig's going to at least match that streak this season, and let's see how high he can go. I think what is the longest winning streak in league history? Quick, somebody tell me before I look it up. 11 games. No, that's the longest losing streak, which is also, I get it. 10 games. 10-game winning streak for Nick Wheeler in our inaugural season. So it doesn't even really count. You know what I mean? As some of those 2 of Nick's championships don't really, different era. You know what I mean? He won from week 6 to the finals. He won out. Plunk in the modern era won from week 7 to the finals 9 games in a row in 2020 during that asterisk season. Plunk's actually in here a couple times. Nick's in here a couple times as well. Most of these winning streaks, honestly, have gone through the finals. There's not been many, and there's been none. Like I said, Duncan, hottest start in league history. No team has ever even started 6-0, let alone 8-0. There's, to my knowledge, to my record here. And this is actually back-to-back years. Duncan has gone on an 8-game winning streak. He won 8 games in a row last year, week 7 to week 12, I think, to put himself in position for the 1 seed last season, if I'm not mistaken. But it's been rare. I mean, Duncan's 6-game winning streak last year was the first such streak, 6-game plus streak since Connor rattled off 9 straight to I think that was at his first championship, I believe, to start his three-peat. maybe his second. I can't recall. I try to block that out. Let's see. I've got the information right here. I could just look. Yeah, that was his second. That was to get his second. I think that was maybe Connor's best team that he's ever had. Yeah, league scoring champion that season as well. And yeah, he's let's see, and a good run. Yeah, pretty good run there off the back of Kamara, my guy. Yeah, well, Blaine. Yeah, he's least amount of points against, most points against. Where is he? Yeah, Blaine's in there. Okay. Anyway, rambling on this a little bit too long, but certainly Craig is pushing to maybe get the top spot if he can win out. It's possible. He's Gucci. Yeah, we'll see. For Duncan now, he's 9-2. He's clinched a playoff spot. Craig's clinched a playoff spot. Both of these guys right now, the top two seeds. Craig has a pretty good margin in points for on second place. Mr. Wheeler, he's got about a 40, 30, 70-point lead on Nick. Got to think that's going to be tough to overcome, but you never know. It's possible. Both of those guys have the two lowest points against. I think. Do I have the least amount of points against? 11th. Close. Who has less than me? Duncan, of course. Yeah. So, Duncan, what's the most points that team has scored against Duncan this year? 145. He's had a couple teams, 3 teams score at around 145 against him. Most of the team, he had Wilson score 52 against him, right? That obviously helps the metrics. So, but obviously Duncan's going to be in the playoffs. Is he going to hold on to that 1 seed? It's really going to depend on my team, to be honest with you. He's got a 3-game lead on 4, 5, and 6. And, that's going to be tough, I think, to overcome that. Certainly, if Nick wins out and Duncan loses out, there's a chance that, he could get into that, my record notwithstanding. But we got a big game this week, so we'll see. Anyways, carrying on here. We'll go with, we'll save that one for last. You know what game's going to be last, guys. You know it. Just go ahead and fast forward about 5-7 minutes to get to it. So, and then it'll probably be about 5-7 minutes in length. So, speaking of Nick, 3-game winning streak now. He's 6-5, second leading point scorer, second highest points for rather in the league. Beat his projection by about 20 points. Meanwhile, he wins 158-117. The Swamp Donkeys, terrible loss for Blaine. Still in a good position. He's still, if the playoffs were to start today, he's in the playoffs based off his points for tiebreaker. He would take that 6th spot from Wee Leadville, which we'll get to very soon. But, for Blaine, he's got a lot of points against. He's got almost 1,600 points against. The next closest team, to put things in perspective, has Savoy, right? Yeah, has like 1,450. So, almost 150 points clear. That's an explosion week from a team. And for some teams, that's 2 weeks put together. So, you got to feel for him. Obviously, last year he was in the same boat. Had a great team. He's like middle of the pack, I think, in points for. In a good position relatively. I think he's like 5th in points for. And the points against, man, he's got a negative. He's got a negative 160, like 160 point differential. And he's still 5-6. For as bad as things are, they could be a lot worse. But, like I said, Duncan's only had 3 teams score over 140 against him and none over 150. Blaine's had 2 guys. One guy score over 200, me a few weeks ago, and Craig almost got to 200 against him. 150, the last since week 6, 155, 191. loss, both of those. 123, he won that one. 203, loss. 145, got a win. And 158, it's a loss. And it's tough. It's tough to overcome. But, he's beating the teams that he needs to beat. He has not beaten... Oh, actually, excuse me, he did beat Nick at the very beginning of the season, and Nick's got a very different team now. But his wins, he's got 2 wins against JD. He's got a win against Flo's Fury. He's got a win against Jeff Fisher. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of maybe a good, not great situation for Blaine's team. But certainly he's got a scrappy team. Certainly, and maybe he's going to make some moves here we'll talk about in a minute to try to help, stiffen things up for him. So, but for Nick, what does there say? His team just scores 1 million touchdowns every single week. I've never seen anything like it. I do plan before the season's out. I wanted to do a tally of the number of touchdowns scored for each team and each team's starting lineup. Look for that soon. Don't know when, but look for that soon. But, Dak had 4 touchdowns. Kareem had a touchdown. Got caught in between slang. Devontae had 1 catch for a touchdown. Pickens had a tutty. Sean Tucker had 3 touchdowns. It's just... And it just goes back to Nick. He does this multiple times every year. He finally rolls the dice on Sean Tucker, and what does Sean Tucker do but reward him with 35 points? He rolled the dice on some random bumfuck wide receiver, right, a couple weeks ago, and got 20, 30 points out of him, right? So I don't know, to put up 158 without his crown jewel and Jonathan Taylor, it's really quite amazing. Now, his bench is non-existent. It's dog shit. It's nothing to write home about. But, and now, London's a little dinged up. Marks is just I don't know what the hell's going on with Marks. Just up and down on a week to week. Doesn't really make a lot of sense how they're using him. Kareem is just, I don't know. He's a fine RB2. But again, you got JT that can make up for a lot of that can mask a lot of that. So, but, London, if London's out for an extended period of time, if he loses another guy, Bucky comes back, Sean Tucker value goes in the shitter. Saying he's human. He's a human team, right? 6-5. That's why 6-5, right? It's not a perfect team. It's a really good team. He's played really, really well. I think he said he hasn't scored less than 140 since week 6? Week 3. The lowest he's scored since week 3 has been 143 points. Tough to beat, man. It's tough to beat. So, he's had a couple close losses in there, too. 145 to 149 against Savoy. 143 to 148 against Craig. Those games flip, and, he's going to be a serious contender. He would have been a serious contender to get a bye and potentially be competing with Craig for the number 1 seed. So, anyways, next we got, speaking of Wheat Leadville, the battle of former roommates. Bad Luck Babcock somehow survives on Monday night, 115 to 105 against Wheat Leadville. JD gets to 4-7 now, drops Rip to 6-5 on a 3-game losing streak for Wheat Leadville, which could just as easily be a 6-game losing streak if Savoy had a competent team. But, Rip's now lost 5 out of his last 6 after starting the season 5-0. And you look at his schedule, and I don't see a lot of wins coming up on the last 3 weeks. And it would not surprise me in the slightest for Rip to lose out. At this point, it's going to be more surprising to me if Rip somehow finds a way to stay in the playoffs as if he does. I don't think Rip's going to have to worry about getting jumped by somebody with more points for the 6th seed. I think he's just going to be out off a record alone, to be quite honest with you. And it's just, he got 105 points, and Josh Allen contributed to fucking half of that. Literally half of that. Josh Allen had 51 points. 52 points. You know what I mean? You round up, that's half, right? Austin Reeves, Arkansas math, right? And it's just he doesn't know who to play. He doesn't know who to play on a week in, week out basis. He guesses wrong every single week for the last 6 weeks. He's basically guessed wrong on who he should put in a starting lineup. He plays QJ this week, gets a gooser, 0 points, 0 at a QJ. He gets, he leaves Debo on the bench at 21 points. He leaves Addison on the bench at 10. You put either of those guys in, you win the game. You win the game. He starts Njoku because he doesn't have another tight end. Kincaid's out. He's got all this money. He's been tailing my bets. He's been getting free. I've been handing him basically free money. I've been doing all the work. He's been benefiting off of my hard work in the betting minds. That's allowed me to make the team that I have, despite the injuries that I've had to deal with all fucking season. And he just doesn't spend it, or he spends it poorly. You know what I mean? And you already know he's not going to make a trade. This guy's impossible to trade with. He leaves Devin Singletary on the bench. He had 16 carries for 44 yards, but he gets 2 touchdowns. I'm not going to knock him for that, but this is not a good team. This is not a good team. I said it whenever he's 5-0. I'm going to keep saying it. And, Vidal's value is about to go, gone, because Amarian's going to be back off the bye in week 13. Javonte has not been very good the last couple of weeks. That touchdown regression is coming, and it's hitting him, and it's affecting him. Dobbs is just a guy. DK stinks. DK did the same shit last year. He got off to a great start, which really his start this season wasn't even that good. It was at least wide receiver 2 because he was catching a touchdown basically every week. And now the touchdowns have dried up, and the Arthur Smith offense is a fantasy hellhole. And, he's been bad. He's been borderline unplayable. But he's got to play him because he's got nobody else. I guess. Does he? I don't know. So, for JD, good for him. I mean, obviously, he's not out of the playoffs yet, technically, but it would take a Herculean effort for him to get in. He would basically start it off, would just have to win out, which, looking at his schedule, it's maybe, not likely, but maybe. He loses one more game, he's done. And that's it. And really, even with his points for, he's got the third least amount of points for in the league by, he's trailing guys by a good margin of the guys that are fighting for that automatic qualifier in the 6th seed. So, JD's kind of just playing not to get horse ass, which is probably safe. He would have to lose out to be in contention with that, competing with Wilson for that. It's not going to happen. And bitch boy, who even knows, right? So maybe, but anyways, and yeah, that's all I got to say about them. Next, congratulations, Hawk. Hey, you did it. You proved me wrong. You won your second game of the year, 138-94 against the dog shit truck nuts. Ford broke his his little Hawk. Now, like I said, back-to-back weeks now for Hawk of 138 points, almost exactly 138.8 2 weeks ago, 138.95 last week, and good for him for getting a win. He did lose last week, but he beat Wilson with a 150 week. He's shown his team has a little bit of life in it. Maybe maybe it's not as bad as I made it out to be. I think there's 2 games at least one that's winnable again for Hawk coming down the stretch here, and I think maybe there's a good chance he's not going to win horse ass. So and for Ford, less than 100 points this week. One of 3 teams below 100 points this week. 5-6. Just a lot of mid. Just a lot of mid outside of McBride. He starts Tyler Lockett. He starts, Ricky Pearsall, who had 1 catch. Somehow I thought he got goosed. Didn't he get goosed? Huh. I could have swore he didn't get any points. That was a correction. That was a stat correction, I think. Interesting. Uh, Parker. He's starting Parker Washington. He's starting Jordan Mason, who outside the touchdown had a dog shit game. It's just not a good team. I mean, he had no Kamara. Burrow maybe will help him out in the horse ass, but I mean, Fort's not going to make the playoffs. I mean, let's just be real. He's not a serious contender. He's his last 4 games, he's scored 104, 110, 127, and 94. And he's got he's got some hitters coming down the stretch. So, possible. He's not out of it. His points for aren't good. He's about 100 points behind where he probably needs to be. He's scored the same amount of points as Rip, basically. That tells you how I feel about his team. So they're about the same in my mind. Next, we've got the Dirty Birds, also on a 3-game winning streak. Both Nick and Connor were sitting at 3-5 just 3 weeks ago. They've now both won 3 in a row to get to 6-5 and put themselves in a really good position to compete in the playoffs. And Connor's right there on the points for race. He's right there in the thick of things just with everybody else. I think he's in 5th right now. Certainly well positioned. I think Blaine's in 6th actually. So, and for French horse ass, Jeff Fisher, 5-6 now, lost 2 in a row. Huge loss for Savoy. I was on the Discord with Plunk in the early afternoon games. And he was crying, "Oh no, Bichon, he's scoring so many points, and I won't score, and Savoy's going to drop 200 points, and oh no, my team's done." And then Christian McCaffrey comes to the rescue, right? His white knight comes, a knight in shining armor, comes to save his ass. A game that San Francisco had far and away, the game was over. They leave him in. He gets another touchdown, 3 tutties, gets 40 points almost, and does enough to put Plunk ahead permanently. St. Brown had his worst game of the year, I think, on Sunday night. Yeah, worst game of the year. And just couldn't do enough to overcome. Tess Johnson proved that he's Tess Johnson, and, that little hot streak he was on, that's gone. In a game that, the Bucks score 32 points. He only has 1.6. Hawkinson's just not good. Keenan's a jag. And his bench is just dog shit garbage. So, Savoy, I think, is going to be hard-pressed to keep himself in the playoff mix. I think. But I do think he's well-positioned to potentially not have any issues in the bitch boy bracket. So, and for Plunk, it's really shaping up as of right now. Like I said, the season ends today. You got 3 of the bad men in the playoffs. You got Plunk, you got Nick, and you got Blaine all in the playoffs. And it's a 50-50 chance of one of them winning it. And I don't like that. Well, especially when the competition is Duncan, Jeff Fisher, and Bad Luck Kamish, So, but we'll see. Still a lot of season left to play. So, and speaking of the commish, our dog shit, throw up all over themselves, piss their pants, wake up looking like Two-Face, and just dog shit. Dog shit! Bleh! Bleh! Make you want to throw up. Make you want to commit seppuku. Teams! Plural. Teams of the week. Both of us deserve this. Both. Flo's Fury keeping the faith. Basically, both of us scored 76.5 points. Almost, before I get into the roast, almost the first tie I think we've ever had in league history. Sleeper doesn't have tiebreaker rules for in-season matchups for the regular season. If you get the same amount of points, it's a tie, And it was a tie when the game ended. And then, all of a sudden I was on the Discord with Hawk and Nick after the game. And Hawk's like, "Laz, you won." I was like, "Wait, excuse me?" lo and behold, I go to look, and that 76.5 magically turned to a 76.6. And that's why we keep the faith. That's why we keep the faith. Now, this shit, honestly, I'm happy for the win. I'm ecstatic for the win. I'm not going to apologize for the win. It got me to 8-3 and put me in a great position to compete for a bye. And certainly in a great position to be in the playoffs, if nothing else. Okay? However, Justin Herbert, my savior, my guy. I've been going to bat for this guy all fucking season. You guys know this. He's my quarterback. All right? 5.4 points. Throws a pick. Almost gets returned. The Jags just pistol whipped the Chargers. Just embarrassed them. They ran them off the field. 35-6 in the third quarter, and that basically both the coaches just threw in the flag and said, fuck it, put the backups in for the rest of the game so nobody gets hurt. And it really hurts me to see that. And really, in the games without Joe Alt, he's just not good enough. And it's amazing to me how much of a difference one guy makes on the Chargers offensive line, because it's really a testament to how good of a tackle that Joe Alt is. Because that offensive line, it's maybe the worst in NFL history. It really is. Honestly, if I'm the Chargers, I don't play Justin Herbert the rest of the year so he doesn't get killed. All right? But he will. He'll play. And unfortunately, he might get hurt. I hope he doesn't. But that offensive line is terrible. He has no time to throw the ball. Guys are getting beat off the ball immediately. And it's really sad to see. Jalen Warren, playing this shit-ass Bengals, rips off a 35-yard run. Looks like he's going to be the guy. Going to have a monster game, 20-point game. Sprains his ankle on a dog shit pass where he had to spin around and do a little doopsie-doo. Says he could go back in the game. The Steelers, I don't think really like him. I think they know that he's good and he's their best running back, but I don't think they like him. I don't think they want him to play. And what's up? You want to make an appearance? No? Okay. You don't have to. Hey.
I was looking rough.
No, you're looking like Thanksgiving theme.
And I still sound very sick.
Yeah, Erica was sick this weekend. I had to take care of her. It's what good husbands do. And maybe that gave me the good karma to pull out this miraculous victory. However, Steelers, Arthur Smith, the bastard man, Arthur Smith, right? He hates good players. He hates players that are talented. He hates getting them the ball. He wants to get the ball to guys like Kenny Gainwell and Darnell Washington. You know what I mean? Because Jalen Warren said he could go back in the game. Said, no, we're going to be cautious with you, Jalen, and we're going to sit. We don't need you to beat the Bengals. And he was right. I get it. Terrible. Not his fault. Terrible. DeAndre Swift. What do you think, right? Only 11.5 points. Didn't get a touchdown. Who got the touchdown again? Monangai, right? He's the goal line back. Rashee Rice, garbage. Dropped multiple balls. Just looked incompetent. 6 catches for 38 yards. Fucking Wan'Dale Robinson stat line, right? Justin Jefferson doesn't have a fucking quarterback, right? 12.5 points. 5 catches on 9 targets. Literally multiple times wide open in the flat. I mean, couldn't be schemed better open. Couldn't make better cut to get more open. And McCarthy throws it fucking 10 yards out of bounds. You know what I mean? Because he's not a real NFL quarterback. And for some reason, NFL GMs and coaches are just so incompetent that they don't understand who can and can't be a quarterback in the NFL. I really don't understand it. Anthony Richardson, Zach Wilson, J.J. McCarthy, Rosen from back in the day. The list goes on and on and on. And it's like they don't care. It's like they think they can beat the system. You can't beat it. You can't. There's maybe a couple good quarterback prospects every year, if that. But you know what? They take the swing and the miss. These teams would be better off just getting grizzled vets like Geno Smith, who sucks also, coming up. Carson Wentz, fucking Marcus Mariota. Guys who suck, but at least they know how to hit open guys. You know what I mean? I digress. Shakir, Dalton Kincaid's out. Playing the Bucks, Antoine Winfield. I forgot about Antoine Winfield. One of the best slot corners in the league by far. had clamps on Shakir all game. Still, though, he only got 3 targets. He was jogging out there. It looked like he didn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? And he got 1 catch for -3 yards. Didn't even get a full fucking point. You know? Brock Bowers, again, thank you, Brock. Appreciate your service. 16 points. They threw the ball like literally 50 times and just said, we're not running. And now Pete said that people are questioning it, and now they're kind of going to switch back, and JT's going to get 25 carries next week. And he did enough for me. He had a couple bad drops that could have made this game a lot less close. And Rachaad White, who ever since I've had him has averaged 10 points a game, he's gone now. I'm done with that shit. Fuck him. And of course, I debated whether I should start Michael Wilson or not. I don't have Nick's luck with this. I've played this game for years and years and years, right? And every time I get the guy, hot guy, maybe off waivers, a guy who's like a backup guy, third string guy, and I put him in a prime juicy matchup when he's supposed to be the guy, it never works for me. It never works. And so I went with the safe play, went with Shakir and Rashad, and Michael Wilson gets 38 points. Garbage time the whole game. 49ers in a fucking Tampa 2 shell the whole game until they get to the 20s. And just check down. 18 targets this guy got. And guess what? I'm going to start Michael Wilson this week probably. And he's going to get maybe 6 points. So it's going to be great. And for Wilson, not immune to this. Lamar Jackson, only 9 points against a ferocious Cleveland defense. Now, Wilson has scored less than 80 points now twice this year. Had a 50-point game. He's had a 76-point game. He's had a 97-point game. He's had a 91-point game. And amazing to think that this team scored 153 points. They were the highest scoring team in week 1. They were the highest scoring team. He's now lost 10 in a row. 10! That's coming up on the longest losing streak in league history. 11. Nobody's ever started a season this poorly in league history. None. Nobody. No, I'm sorry. Forrest started the season 0-11. I'm sorry. He did. And so, at least he doesn't have that. But Wilson's found himself on here now for the second time. He lost 7 in a row back in 2013. Started the season 0-7. And now he is tied Duncan for the second longest losing streak in league history. Duncan lost 10 in a row in 2014, weeks 5 through 14. It's not looking good. It's not looking good for Wilson, right? I mean, he's got, Saquon did nothing. Rico, literally his entire starting lineup. He has two guys still out of 9, right? We have start 9 guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys. Started 8 guys, and he has 2 of those. 6 of the guys that he started this week are gone for one reason or another, which we'll get to in a minute. We finally cut Mixon too. That's good. He basically just completely turned over his roster after this week. Rico Dowdle's been the lone bright spot on his team the last few weeks. Jerry Jeudy went back to being Jerry Jeudy. Malik Washington is what he is. Just a less than 8-point a game guy. Zay Flowers, had a couple long catches, but couldn't really do much. Musgrave had 1 catch for -1 yard and a fumble, -0.1 points. I can't remember the last time anybody started somebody who's got negative points. And Dalton Schultz was fine at 11, which why Rip dropped him for Njoku is fucking beyond me. But he did, and honestly made the game a lot closer than it needed to be, because if he didn't drop him and he wouldn't have started Schultz, and I would have won this game a lot easier. But, for Wilson, it's just he's 1-10. And honestly, I think if he breaks the record, if he loses 2 more games, his next 2 games, and gets to a 12-game losing streak, I think we're due for another video from Wilson. I think we got to get one from him. I think so. So, anyways, enough of that about that dog shit. So it's over with. Trades. Lot of trades popping off in the last 24 hours. We'll start off here. Did I miss any from last week? I don't think so. 7 days ago? No. Okay. So start off here. We had pretty big blockbuster trade here. Some big pieces on the move. Craig acquires Christian McCaffrey from Plunk for Jahmyr Gibbs and Troy Franklin. I know there's a little bit of debate today about ceilings and floors and which is higher, which is lower. And, in my mind, I think everybody knows. I mean, Christian McCaffrey right now is RB1 on the year. By points per game, he's RB2. Jahmyr's had a great season. He's also had some dud weeks where he has scored, less than 10 points on 2 occasions this season. McCaffrey's lowest scoring game this year has been 11.8. And other than that, his second lowest scoring game is 20.6. So, it's pretty fucking good, right? Pretty good. And Troy Franklin is just, he's the wide receiver 1 now in Denver. He's basically been a wide receiver, pretty consistent wide receiver 2 ever since I cut him, which has been fun. And he's getting a really good target. He's gotten 8+ targets each of the last 5 games. And so I think a good depth piece there for Connor. Overall, I think a very, very fair, even trade. Excuse me. Oh, I was just thinking that my allergies have been pretty well under wraps the last few weeks. Seems like they're coming back. Maybe I'm getting sick too. Who knows? Next, we've got the, Wilson's made his second trade of the year, also with me, right? He is, like I said, he's going. I mean, obviously this shit's not working, right? So what do you do? What else is a guy supposed to do like Wilson but try and just shake things up? And boy, is he. So, I was in talks with him last night, just trying to workshop, talks to a couple guys, trying to work something out with him. I see Lamar's schedule and Saquon's schedule very juicy for the playoffs, very juicy down the stretch. I just kind of throw out, what about Herbert, Marv, DeAndre, right? Get things talking, get things moving, right? Didn't expect him to. I told him, hey, stick it in your trade machine. Your trade machine will probably hate it, but just let me know. Trade machine didn't hate it, I guess. He liked it. Needed a little bit of push over the edge. And just so you guys know, I think I've told some of you this, and Plunk's told some of you this. Wilson was about to make this deal, the same deal, these 2 guys, for Stephon Diggs, Danny Dimes, and Bashal Tutin. Okay? He's about to make that deal. Now, granted, is Herbert playing this week? No. Is Marvin playing this week? No. But, in the grand scheme, I think it's a better package, personally. I could tell he was hesitant. He needed something to push him over the edge. I look at his fab, right? It's been a constant talking point for the last several weeks. Wilson's running low on fab. He has no fab. His spend is more than he has. He's gambling more than he has, right? Let me give you a little cash infusion. How about I've got more than I need. I've got more than I could ever spend. 25 fab. Here you go. Take it. Let's make this deal happen. Sure enough, I probably could have gotten this deal done with maybe 15 fab. But you know what? I'm a nice guy. I want Wilson to have some little walking around money, right? So I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, Lamar and Saquon have been underwhelming so far this year, but there's no denying the upside and potential that they have. Hurts my wide receiver depth a little bit to lose Marv, but Marv just hasn't materialized the way I wanted him to. It's really unfortunate. I hope he can help all those guys get healthy and stay healthy. I love Swift. Obviously, I love Herbert. Marv's, but I really hope that they can do good things for Wilson. Maybe save him from Bitch Boy, because they're probably not going to save him from horse ass. So, and then we had a couple other trades just go down within the last few hours. Wilson also made another trade, acquired Aaron Jones and Darnell Mooney from the Swamp Donkeys in return for Zay Flowers, which, Zay's been a solid presence. He's basically been a wide receiver 2, low-end wide receiver 2 all year. Just a nice, consistent, stable presence. His schedule is kind of up and down for the rest of the year. But, for the price, he's, Aaron Jones has been an okay RB2. He's got a pretty good schedule down the stretch. Mooney is the wide receiver 1 for maybe a week or 2. I think he's also a little dinged up, but he's just not really proven much this year. Now you got Kirk Cousins, and just that Falcons team is going downhill fast. So, just a kind of meh trade. And then just about an hour ago, Wilson acquires Chris Godwin and Terry McLaurin for the low price of Rico Dowdle. JD tries to bolster his running back room a little bit because it's really not in a very good place at all. And Wilson's just addicted to acquiring injured players. Terry McLaurin out. Who knows when he's going to play again? Chris Godwin out. Who knows when he's going to play again, right? Aaron Jones is injury prone. Darnell Mooney's injury prone. Marv's out. Herbert could be hurt, right? Swift has been on the injury report all season, right? I don't know. Maybe it'll work. I'm fine with two bottom feeders, trading players amongst themselves. That's fine by me because, keep these players from going to good contenders that could maybe compete with me. So that's fine. So, and then we had a pretty big waiver run too. 9 claims today. Kenneth Gainwell, obviously the big bell of the ball. I got him for 37 fab. I wasn't going to lose on it. I wasn't going to lose out on him. Rip was the only person who really could contend with me for this. And I think Rip's just checked out for the rest of the season, to be honest with you. JD was in for 18. Plunk was in for, Duncan was in for 11, and Plunk was in for 6. Duncan does get Emmanuel Wilson was in for 29 on him. Savoy was 17. JD 8. Plunk was 6 because Plunk just doesn't have any money left. I got Mechie for 15. Yeah, nobody bid on him. Again, more money. I'll get 30 fab right back again this week. I have no doubts about that. Greg Dortch goes to Wilson for 9. Plunk was in for 1. Spending that money already. Make it rain, baby. Come on. You got it. Plunk does get A.J. Barner back on his team for 6. He's been playing back and forth with tight ends all season. Connor has. Wilson also spends $4 on Brissett. Nobody else in on him. Finally drops Joe Mixon, by the way, to get the Dortch pickup. Because it finally sunk in that I guess Wilson finally realized I have enough injured players. I don't need one more clogging my roster. Nick picks up Yoshi Voss for 3. Duncan was in on him, but Duncan had already picked up Wilson, so didn't work out there. Nick's going to put in Yoshi Voss against Duncan, and he's going to get 25 points. You can see that right now. Craig picks up Jaden Reed. Great pickup. Craig's had so many great pickups this season. He really has. Craig had a great draft. He's had some great pickups throughout the season. I think he's just made a great trade as well. And, he's really clicking. He's really seeing it this year. Snipes Nick for 1 fab. And then Plunk gets Chris Rodriguez, the new starting running back for the Washington, for 1 fab as well. So, all right. Let's go ahead here and get into a preview of this week's matchups. I really debated on game of the week. We have a lot of teams that are record-wise not really close to each other that are playing each other this week. Primed for a lot of upsets. I think I had it in my mind who it was going to be, and I think I might have lost it. He didn't set his lineup, so can't be that. Excuse me. I hate to keep putting him in there, but I don't know. We don't really have any games that are really projected to be close this week at all. Fuck it. Let's just do that one. Why not? That's going to be a good one, right? First off, start off keeping the faith versus Truck Nuts. I'm projected to win 162 to 133. I think for the first time this season, I will officially bet my under. I scored 200 points 3 weeks ago. I scored 100 points a week after that and 76 last week. And you know what I say? I say it all the time to all these other teams, right? You got to prove it to me. You got to prove it to me that you are capable of scoring points again. And got the new guys in the lineup ready to go. They got some good matchups. But, I think 162 is maybe going to be a stretch. But I think 133 for Ford is very much a stretch. I think Goff is going to have a great game, I'm sure, and probably Kamara as well. But I don't hold the rest of his team very much in high regard at all. So I'll go with myself on that one. Next, we got Flo's Fury versus Fringe Horseass. Savoy's projected to win 134 to 116. And that's without his third wide receiver and without his flex in there at the moment. Granted, he's probably going to have to put in Tez or Golden, which is like a 7-point diff. He's going to have to start probably both of those guys. Wow, maybe Hawkinson. So, he's really only going to get like maybe 20-point bump, if that. It's pretty gross. Still, I want to see that streak go. I want to see that streak run on. So, like I said, I mean, Wilson's basically got a whole new starting lineup from last week to this week. So, man. Go Savoy. Next, doesn't contribute versus Wee Leadville. Doesn't contribute. Don't need to talk about it. What could have been the game of the week, potentially McCockners versus Dirty Birds of War. JD's projected to win 161 to 128. Monster. That's going to be under. Big time under, because JD's highest scoring to week this season is 131 points. And you're telling me he's going to get 160 with basically the same team he's had all year? I don't buy it. Now, he's catching Plunk at the right time. Plunk's got no Rodriguez, who just picked up, on bye. No Achan, on bye. No Troy Franklin, who he just traded for, on bye. No Waddle, bye. Hampton, bye. So, he's starting the likes of Jalen Coker, Jaden Higgins, Juwan Jennings, Bayshalt Tootin, Daniel Jones, AJ Barner. I know Plunk's total is low. This is the lowest it's been all year by a large margin. What if? Do I have the stones to bet the under on this? Maybe. I certainly have the stones to bet JD's under, because I think that's extremely inflated. Extremely. But he's got some really good wide receivers, that's for sure. So I'll go with Plunk in that one though. Somehow, some way, I think he's just going to find a way to win. I'd love to see him lose, Shady. I'd love to see you pull off the upset, please. But penultimate matchup, you got Major Comeback Season versus Kicker Lives Matter. No Jamar Chase for Duncan this week. Probably no Josh Jacobs, but maybe. There's a chance. I think Christian Watson's a little dinged up. BTJ probably should be back, I think. Slayton, maybe. He's no, probably not. Nick's going to win this game. If Nick loses this game, he needs to reevaluate his life. And then that brings us to our game of the week. Why not? Right? Why not these two guys? Nothing stands out to me, so I'm just shooting from the hip. Trying to open these up a little bit. Everybody knows something I love, right? Peanut butter and jelly. Our Reese's PB&J's game of the week. Reese's peanut butter and jelly, strawberry flavored. Now, I'm not a strawberry jelly guy, okay? Everybody knows, grape jelly for life. I don't really mess with strawberry, but I will for this. And I'm not really a Reese's guy either, but again, I'll try it. 150 calories per 2 pieces is a snack size, 4-pack. What's your jam, right? What's your jam here at Reese's? They do have a grape flavored one. Are you gotta be shitting me? I'm sorry, I keep forgetting your name, Carrie. I really shouldn't forget that. It's a pretty simple name. You gotta know that. You gotta do your market research. You gotta know that, Kamish loves his grape jelly, right? That's okay. I'll let you slide. Anyways, let's see how these go. Maybe this will convert me. Maybe this will turn me into a strawberry jelly guy. I don't know. Let me pick the best one here. So anyway, Reese's PB&J strawberry flavored, the official, strawberry chocolate peanut butter product of the whatever. Cheers. Get this thing open a little bit. Good, not great. Fair. I would say fair, not great. Talk about me. Not the worst thing I've had in a care package. Very light on the strawberry. It's really just a Reese's. Swamp Donkeys versus Dino Burrow time. Why not? 163 to 139. Blaine's projected to win. Battle of the quarterback. You got Jackson Dart being back, probably, versus Drake May. A hapless Cincinnati defense. We'll go with Drake May in that one. Easy. Although I think Jackson can keep it close if he knows he can stop getting his head hurt. Battle of the running back, you got Derrick Henry, Chase Brown versus Tyrone Tracy and Breece Hall. Unfortunately, I think we're also going to have to go with Blaine in that one. This really wasn't nice of me to do this to you, Hawk, but you know what? I just had no better options. So, battle of the wide receiver, you got Puka Nacua, Emeka Ibuka, and Zay Flowers. It's a very nice alliteration. Emeka Ibuka, Puka Nacua. There needs to be some other guy with that too somewhere. I don't know. Versus Rome Odunze, Tet McMillan, and Wandale Robinson. Everybody knows I love my little Wandale, but we'll go with Blaine in that one as well. Although Tet might be coming on. Battle of the flex, you got Theo Johnson versus Greg Kittle. Go Greg, easy, big. Blaine, if Hawks got a chance to pull off the upset and get his third win of the season, it's going to be on the back of Kittle, which is one of Blaine's former guys. And it's going to be on the backs of Jackson Dart. So we'll see if he can do it. And then battle of the flex, you got, the battle of the Seahawk running backs, Kenneth Walker versus Zach Charbonnet. He doesn't want to trot out Trey Tucker in a tough matchup against Cleveland. Don't blame him. It looks like Trey Benson probably might be back. Could be. Don't know if he's going to play him. But I think Kenneth Walker, he's coming off his best game of the season. Best game of the season. So that means he's due to go back to the shit, and it'll be a Zach Charbonnet game. So let's give the edge to Zach. Why not? He's by far the worst running back of the two, but again, it's like a kind of Pittsburgh situation. So ultimately, though, I think it's probably Blaine just got a little bit too much firepower to overcome. But it would be hilarious if Hawks somehow goes for 150 and Blaine scores like 140, and that trend continues. Blaine makes the playoffs at 5-9. I think he was 6-8 last year and made the playoffs. So, anyways. That's all I got this week, fellas. Thanksgiving on the horizon. I think next week. Thanksgiving's next week. Wow. I'll be have to take my rig with me. We'll be in Nashville for Thanksgiving. If you're traveling before my next video, please be safe. And always be safe out there. That's what I always say. Have fun, be safe, and good luck. And as always, whoop pig.